So you don't have time to consume an entire podcast. That's okay. Enjoy the highlights on TRS Clips. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon. What is power, sir? Because this took me some time to understand. I know what wealth is. I know what money is. I know what fame is. Once someone came and told me, do you realize that your job is giving you a power? And I said, I don't even know what that means. And then someone had to break it down specific to my job. But I think that what is power as a question is very wide. So I'd love to ask an IAS officer this.
I think it's a good question. It's good you talked about fame and money as well, because I often say that the goal of life is not power, money, or fame. It is inner happiness and inner peace. We'll come to that. But power in itself is something, firstly, it's fleeting. And it is connected to the chair in which you are, mostly. So an IAS officer's power is because he's director of so-and-so department. He's director of or DC of a particular area, or she is looking after this particular task. An IAS officer's position gives authority and power, which is defined under the rules. A minister of agriculture, his powers are defined under the rules. Ministry of Agriculture. He might have other clout, the power to call up somebody and say, "Ke iski madad kar do, uski madad kar do." That is also power which flows from that.
So is it fair to say power's a reduction for your own actions? That's how I look at it. That you just make a call and get it done. Or you think of something and it gets done.
I think the ability to get things done, the inherent power to call up somebody and influence them, or the inherent ability from your position or authority to influence the trend of something that is happening. I would say that somebody who's the Indian cricket captain, he has power. His personality will influence millions. If he starts a particular trend, Ronaldo shifted the Coke bottle, had the water bottle in front, power. The power to influence mindsets and thinking. So power is something which comes from position, also from personality, also from fame, also from being rich. So they're all integrated.
Yeah. In the last podcast, we spoke about honor as well. So basically, we spoke about doing the right thing, staying humble after you receive power in life. And that's what I call good power, that doesn't get corrupted. And of course, we can add all these spiritual angles to it. But the question I have for you is, because you've been an IAS officer, I am 110% sure you've seen evil power of all sorts as well. We spoke about the chair you sit in that gives you power. I'm sure there are certain chairs which have spikes on the side, and which are like dark chairs. I'm sure you've kind of encountered criminals. I'm sure you've encountered people who do the wrong things, corrupt human beings. What have you learned about that world, that dark power?
So dark power or white power or bright power, basically it's shades of gray. Nothing in the world is black and white. So a person who's very dignified, powerful, might also indulge in certain practices which are not correct. It could be just 1% of his role. It could be 90% of his role. He might be sitting there in order to do something very, self-driven and self-motivated, and his agenda is only to benefit the self and family. So it is shades of gray. Secondly, nobody's perfect. But largely I've seen that in government, power is something which is often abused, but not as often as is perceived by the public. So people are generally working, generally doing their job, and maybe misusing their power at times. It's not the other way around. So generally people are functioning diligently, and there are not as many corrupt people as it appears from outside in the system. There are not as many badmash type people also. So it is basically a perception where again the government is at fault. They have not reached out to the society, or powerful people have not. The king never reached out to the common man and said, "See, I'm there with you." He was the king in olden times. And the public used to not really love their kings and queens because they were not like them. So it's incumbent upon the powerful to reach out and gain the trust and love of that populace. Then power becomes humane.